well, here's what I got going on. This unit is blowing at 63 degrees. For some reason, compressor's not turning on. So I got a work order yesterday saying the unit was blowing at 83 degrees pretty much all day long. I was checking it out on the software, and it wasn't turning on. So I'm gonna try to see what I can do to get the compressor running. Alright, so here's what's going on. So pretty much this is the software I use. It's called Eclipse. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but we have occupied cooling set point is set at 75 degrees, right? So if you're thinking about it like in a thermostat in a residential home, that thermostat would be set to 75 degrees, okay? Here I have control temp. That tells me the temperature currently at the thermostat. So right now it's showing me 82 degrees, and then supply air temp showing me 82 degrees. So what's going on here is pretty much compressor's not turning on, condenser fan motor's not turning on. Only thing running right now is the blower motor. So I went ahead and opened up this unit, and I'm not calling for cooling because my contactor's not pulled in. I checked my transformers. They're not popped, right? They're good. So this one's pretty good too. And that's when I noticed that this Honeywell board is completely blank. Usually it'll have something here saying either on cooling or heating or standby, but right now it's completely blank, which kind of is throwing up some red flags for me. I'm thinking that something's going on here. This wouldn't be the first time that I had a Honeywell board go bad on me. The good thing is that I do have a couple other units exactly the same, that I could just swap out the Honey board, you know, grab from one of those, switch it over to here, and see if it turns on, right? And then if my unit turns on, if it does turn on, then that means, you know, the board is bad, and then I need to replace it. If I'm being completely honest, I don't really know how to diagnose these things. What I do know is, what I was told by a tech once is, if it's getting the proper amount of voltage and it's still not doing what it's supposed to do, then that part is bad. So what I'm gonna do, the thing is, I don't really know exactly where the voltage goes in. I'm guessing here I see 24 volts common. So I'm gonna check this, see if it's getting voltage. If it's not, then I guess I'll trace it back, see where I'm losing my voltage. I know I'm getting high voltage because my blower motor's on, but I don't know if I'm getting low voltage. So I guess I'll check low voltage or high voltage as transformers, see if I'm getting a low voltage out. I'll check my thermostat wires, see if I'm getting voltage there, and you know, go from there. If I'm not getting, well, if I am getting, you know, all the voltage I should be getting, then I'll end up switching this out with another one, maybe one of those over there somewhere, and, you know, see if it works. And if it does work, then I'll just order one of these. So that's the plan for now. I'll you know, I'll cut back and let you guys know what's going on. Alright, so here's what's going on. This is still not working. Still not getting 24 volts. I'm losing it here. So I'm getting it at the you know, Y1 for 24. And from there, I'm losing it. So I checked low pressure switch, high pressure switch. I'm getting continuity through both of them on both sides. So that tells me, you know, we're good on refrigerant. And then if we go here on the other side, so for some reason I was expecting the economizer. Sometimes these things go bad and you know, it just doesn't let my unit turn on. So I have one of these things here to bypass. So I tried plugging it in, but it didn't really do anything. So just gonna pull that off there. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, that's good. Alright, so we're gonna put that back on. Economizer is closed anyways. I mean, you know, it's pretty hot here in Arizona, so it does get a little bit of outdoor air, you know, because this is a commercial building. So it's, I think technically it's supposed to have like 5% of fresh air. So here's plan B. Since I am getting 24 volts from the thermostat knows that it needs cooling inside the classroom. So I'm gonna run a cable from Y1 to my 24 side of the contactor. That should engage this contactor to turn on. The thing is, I already pushed it in with the Sharpie. The only thing that came on was my compressor. Condenser fan motor did not come on. That could be the issue here as well, that the condenser fan motor is just, you know, gone bad. Or it could be, you know, somewhere here in the wires where it's just not sending over voltage, because this is my wire for the outdoor fan motor. I should check if it's getting voltage. I will check that. See if that's the issue. Maybe it's not getting low voltage, and maybe this board here is the issue, which is causing the compressor to overheat if that condenser fan motor is not coming on. So yeah, plan B. Alright, so here's what I got going on. So I always have a little bit of thermostat wire in my backpack, you know, and I got some spades too. So I took the yellow wire out of there and I made a jumper from Y1 all the way to my contactor on the 24 side. So if I turn on this disconnect, you know, contactor should push in because I was getting 24 volts. I don't think that condenser fan was going to turn on, so we'll see. Let's see here. Alright, so getting 24. It's not calling for cooling yet. Did I break it? I don't. Oh man. So this blower motor is direct drive. This little thing here reads the temperature, and it goes to, I can see it on the tablet when I'm looking at the software. There's another one right here as well. This one should be reading the return temperature. That one on that side should be reading the supply temperature. So that's how I could see the temperatures from that tablet right there. I'm gonna give it a minute, see if it turns on, and see what's going on from there. Alright, so contactor pulled in, blower motor's running, compressor is running, but my condenser fan motor is not. So let me check voltage. Okay, I'm getting voltage 285, and that should be going straight. Yeah, should be going straight to my condenser. So from what I've been told is if a part's getting voltage and it's not doing what it's supposed to, then that part is bad. 200. Volts. This condenser fan motor is 460. So, yeah, I'm a little confused. How do I get that motor to run? Okay, so I'm getting 200 volts here. I should be getting 200 volts here as well. Alright, let me turn it back on. Let me take voltage and go from there. Alright, so I turned it on again. I checked voltage, here at the black wire for my condenser fan motor. I'm getting 280. Then I checked it here on the brown. I'm getting 280 as well. Here on the yellow, I'm also getting 280. So what that tells me is that condenser fan motor is getting the proper amount of voltage, because I believe those are the only wires going to this motor here. Yeah, so right there on that sticker it shows black and yellow are the two line wires. So 280 on one wire, 280 on the black wire. That comes out to, I don't know, somehow that comes out to 460, which should have that condenser motor running. I'm wondering if maybe let me open this up and let me check the condition of the shaft. Alright, so check it out. I got black, yellow, and brown. So black and yellow, high voltage. Brown goes to my capacitor. But it doesn't feel like the shaft is bad. Condenser fan motor isn't even hot. So this capacitor for the condenser fan motor is 5 microfarads. I'm getting 5.00, which is probably one of the best capacitors I've ever seen. I've never seen one that close to the actual microfarads, which is a little suspicious if I'm being honest. But I mean, shit, it's doing its job. So well, not really, because that condenser fan motor is not running. So I think this is where I'm gonna call it. I'm gonna say that I'm gonna try to switch out that condenser fan motor without cutting any wires, just in case that's not the issue. And you know, if it's not the issue, then I'll just, you know, put the old one back on and keep diagnosing. But for now, I have to run to the shop, grab a condenser fan motor, come and install it, and go from there. But I mean, maybe you guys can tell me what you think is wrong with this unit. To be honest, I'm not the best person at diagnosing, but you know, I try. This is where I get mixed up, right? So this board here and this board here, I could tell, you know, I got low voltage, and you know, I could trace it going in, but tracing it coming out and seeing where it goes is where I get confused. You know, and it's been like that for a while now, and for some reason it just doesn't want to click for me. But maybe you guys can help me out. I don't know if you guys want to give me some tips or something, that'd be great. Maybe somewhere where I could study and learn how to diagnose these things, because whenever I run into an issue, like a low voltage issue where I have to diagnose a board, it kind of just goes downhill from there. So yeah, I'm gonna switch out the condenser fan motor and go from there. Alright guys, later. Alright, so I'm looking for a 460 1/4 horsepower and 1100 RPMs condenser fan motor, preferably OEM. So I got 1/4, 460. Okay, that looks about right. And it's got my 3 wires, black, brown, yellow. Okay. And what run cap does this take? Does not say. Oh, someone has written 5 cap. Okay. Well, I have a couple 5 caps on my truck, so should be good to go. Yeah, so this is our storage. We just keep, you know, a couple belts there. All condenser fan motors here, blower motors on the other side over there. Bunch of wire here. This is kind of like the AC guy stuff. This is you know, all of my shit pretty much. That's the electrical guy stuff. Over there is the locksmith stuff. You see, you know, right now it's still kind of summertime, so everything is kind of messy, but in the wintertime we come and, you know, we kind of organize a little bit. As you can see here, I got my 10 microfarads. Got a little stockpile. Whoops. I got some 5 microfarads here. A couple other things. Some fan blades saved up. You know, some housings and stuff like that. So got some tanks over there. So yeah, I'm gonna take this motor and install it and see if that works. Alright, so here I am again. Same unit. It's carrier package, commercial. So here's that new condenser fan motor. Got a new run cap, even though the last one's pretty good. I'm gonna switch it out just in case, and then that one's gonna get switched out. So yeah, we'll go from there. Alright, so here's what's going on. So I'm trying to take out this condenser fan motor here, and I'm having issues with this little tiny screw that has an Allen wrench. That, well, you know, you're supposed to use an Allen wrench to take it out, but as you can see, I don't have the proper tools for that. So, and you know, I stripped it out, so I'm gonna have to go to the store and grab one of those like reverse screws. I don't fucking know what it's called, but so yeah, I'll get this taken care of some other time. In the meantime, here's what I got going on. So I got a new run cap in here, all right, and then I got it hooked up to this new condenser fan motor. So I'm gonna turn on the unit and see if this condenser fan motor turns on at the same time when that compressor turns on. If it does, then that means we're good, and I'll just have to install this. If it doesn't, then that means we got other issues going on. So yeah, go from there. Alright, so the compressor's running. Condenser fan motor is not running though. So it looks like we're having some other issues here, like maybe some safety switches or something. Yeah, guess we'll just keep going. Alright, so condenser fan motor still does not want to turn on. I did end up finding something. So this plug here was disconnected and just kind of dangling here. So I plugged it back in, see if that would help, would do anything. This Honeywell board actually turned on. So I was thinking, okay, well, maybe that was my issue. Maybe, you know, condenser fan motor would turn on. So I just turned on the disconnect, but to show you guys, you know, it's running, it's on, but I just cannot get that condenser fan motor to run for some reason. And I don't think it's bad, because I mean, I did hook up a brand new one, and the brand new one didn't even turn on. So yeah, this is where I'm at. I'm stuck, you know? You don't know what you don't know. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call dispatch and let them know I'm at a dead end here, and see if they could probably send someone else out here with a little bit more experience. You know, maybe I could get on the phone with them and they could explain what they did and how they did it. Another thing I noticed was these two brown wires here just kind of dangling, not connected to anything. I thought they would be connected to the low voltage side on this transformer, but I checked the schematic, and off of this transformer it should be that brown and green wire. So this is correct, but I don't know where this brown wire goes to. Right here. So I'm kind of at a dead end. Yeah, also there is this just extra white wire here going to this honey board. Yeah, well, that's what I'm gonna call it. So all right, see ya.